Welcome back to another Tilted Knot video. The Durango that we used to have, the transfer case went out on it, and we decided that it was not worth putting another $5,000 into it to replace that. The vehicle had 185,000 miles on it. It was a 2011. It was just getting to the point where it was time to replace it. We had been talking about getting a truck for a little over a year, just because that's something that would be more helpful for me with woodworking, being able to transport wood, not having to haul a trailer every time I needed to pick up plywood or anything else. And so this seemed like the perfect time to go ahead and make that change. And so we did. We found one that fit our needs, fit what we wanted, and I decided to build a bed box for it that we can use, or that will be usable for storing the straps and tarps and everything else that I normally would have in a bag that would carry with the trailer, so that I could be able to transport stuff appropriately. I got a hold of some crate material from school that was going to be discarded, used other scrap that I had laying around the garage, and set about building a box for it. And that's what this video is. The frame is going to change a little bit later. There are some things I want to do differently with it, and it will be rebuilt. But for now, this will be able to provide what we need, and hopefully enjoy seeing what I came up with. But let's get into the video, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you. The first thing I need to do is figure out the height for the base of the box. I want to set this so that the top of it sits flush against the top of the wheel wells. Easiest way to do this was to use my level, put it across the wheel well, and then mark the 4x4 where the bottom of the level is, to make sure I'm getting the proper height. With the height figured out, I can go ahead and get the ends of the 4x4 pieces cut down, and using a stop block, I can set the exact height that I need so I can get them all cut at the same height. Here I am marking the 4x4s where the 2x4 is going to set into, so that I can notch those out and have a rabbet for those to be attached to, giving me the support that I need and retaining the height that is needed for the top of the box. And now it's just a matter of getting these 4x4s cut and making sure that where I'm cutting it is going to line up properly for the rabbets for the 2x4s to sit into. here I'm doing the other cut for the rabbit. The 2x4s are a little bit longer or wider than what my saw can accommodate. So it's going to leave just a slight tab at the end that I will have to clean up and cut for the rabbit. With all of them cut, I can do that final little cut that I need to complete the rabbit for the 2x4s to fit onto. And then I will use my chisel to clean up the last little nub, make sure that everything is nice and even. And now it's time for a test fit to make sure that what I have put together or the way I have these cut is going to work. And it's going to give me that nice clean connection. The 2x4s are going to be joined together using half laps. With the main support being connected to the 4x4s, this should give me a strong structure, give me the rigidity that I need, and make sure that everything stays square. And here I'm just finishing up the cutouts for the half laps and getting that depth that I need for the 2x4s. With those cut, I can use my chisel to get everything cleaned up and then just verify that the half laps are the proper width for each of the 2x4s to sit into. And here I'm doing the last test fit just to make sure that everything is going to fit properly and lock into place and be ready to attach to the 5x4s. With the fit verified, I can now drill the pilot holes, and I'll attach these together with construction screws.
Now for the fun of figuring out how I'm going to glue all of this together. Not entirely sure how this is going to go, but we'll figure it out. This is all of the scrap wood that I cut down and ran through the planer to get everything to 1/2 inch. And this is going to be the cover or the deck or whatever you want to call it for the bed box that I'm building for the back of the truck. So as soon as I get this figured out, how I want to do this, then we'll get this portion of it going.
And now it's time to get this glued together. Starting from one end to the other, I'm pulling up different sections, getting wax paper put down underneath it so I don't glue it to my tabletop. And then I will just rinse and repeat the process all the way down. I realized at this point I'm going to have to break this up into sections with gluing about a 2-foot length at a time, and then gluing those together more of a panel design, and then getting the entire top glued up that way. And here I have some weights I've put on it just to keep everything down and help keep everything flat. Alright, now the battery has some juice. I wasn't paying attention. It didn't trigger the battery to charge it while I was filming. But I've gotten to this point, everything's glued up. We'll let it sit for a couple of hours and see if this is going to hold. I got the far edge cleaned up and evened out.
I let the top sit overnight. Got it sanded down. I only went to an 80 grit just because this is going to be in the back of the truck. There are some gaps in the wood that I didn't catch before the wood set, but not entirely worried about that. It's just the functionality is what I'm wanting more than anything else. The frame is sitting on the bottom of the top, and I'm going to put together a frame for the inside of this just to give it a little bit more stability and support, and also make it easy for me to remove this base, because I do think I want to rebuild it and do something a little bit different before I design the sliding drawer that's going to go into it for organizing ratchet straps, tie downs, tarps, that kind of thing. So let's get figured out how I'm going to attach this and go from there.
Here I'm marking out where the support frame fits onto the top and where the frame for the box sits. That way I can pre-drill all the holes for attaching these together, and I don't have to hunt for where the pilot holes need to be or where the screws are going to set. Now it's time to flip this thing over so that I can start getting the countersink holes put in. and then snap the end of it. Unfortunately, this is not going to be the first time that I snap this part off, and then I snap the other side off before I'm able to get this thing completely finished and ready to put in the truck. This back piece, I was able to get glued back on and keep it more stable because of the frame. The other side, that didn't go so well, and I ended up cutting those pieces off to create the drawer front and the box front that you'll see in a little bit. While the glue is setting on what I had to repair, this is a good time to go ahead and get the countersunk holes set so that I can go ahead and attach this to the top of the frame. Here I'm getting the top attached to the frame using corrosion resistant construction screws and making sure this is nice and tight. For the interior support frame, I'm using some 1x1 strips and just attaching those to the inside of the 2x4s and giving the top something to adhere to. With that part in place, I can get the middle stretcher put in and get some weights on it just to hold it against the top. And then I'll flip it over and put some screws from the other side all the way down the middle. I found that these weights that are designed to hold canopies down to the ground are actually perfect for doing stuff like this. They weigh about 5 pounds apiece, and they're easy to balance and position where I need them to be. All right, here's where I'm at right now. I thought I had recorded putting on this end piece, but I didn't. This is set up to flip up so that I have full access to put wood underneath it when I am transporting planks. Props. I need to get an oil coat on this, get it put in the truck, and see how well it's going to work. The drawer, I did not show that being put together, but it goes almost the entire length of the box. And I have dividers put in for organizing. And this is set up to run just on a plywood track, just to keep it off the bottom of the bed in case any water gets under there so it doesn't completely destroy the plywood. But this should give me what I need for now. And see if what I have in mind is actually going to work. Once I know it works, then I'll plan on rebuilding the entire thing, probably in the spring, because we're getting ready to start getting into the winter, and I have other projects I want to get done. But for now, this should provide what I need as far as organization and transportability for wood products in the back of the truck. But let's get some oil on it, get it put in, and I'll show you what it looks like. And here we go. I have it installed. I've got 2 coats of oil on it. I'm going to let it sit probably about a week, just let it bake out here under the tonneau cover. But I think that'll do for what I need. I could have gone just a little bit longer. I don't need that much room to get access to the tie-down hooks. So when I rebuild this, we'll see if it does need to be longer or not, and see how it goes. The main reason I wanted to have this able to open up is so that I can slide wood underneath here and have this closed, so that if we're transporting groceries or something that we can put in that back end, we have plenty of room to do so. And we'll see if I need to redesign this when I get ready to build the final version, but that's where I'm at right now. This edge is definitely not pretty. That's where everything snapped off. But it'll work for now. It's in the back of a truck. Nobody's really going to see it, and except for me, really, when I'm loading and offloading stuff. But this should provide what I need, and we'll see how it goes. But hopefully this gives you an idea of something that you can do. Probably do something a little bit nicer than what I did. But first time designing something like this, I think it turned out pretty good, especially with it being complete scrap wood. But appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next video.